All right, so TikTok will bring out the best and the worst of people. It's evident. So TikTok has made lives and then it has taken lives away. And I wanted to react to, I believe his name is TUV or TUV, TikTokers who became horrible criminals, because a lot of TikTokers have some bad past, or TikTok has pushing them to do some really bad things, guys. So a lot of these TikTokers that you guys watch, they get so deep into being in the social media fame that they will die for it, or they will kill for it. Let's dive right in.
Claire Miller. We've actually spoken about this girl in the darkest TikTok iceberg, so if the story seems familiar, that's probably why. In a very bizarre case of cold-blooded murder, a girl told the police, quote, "I would have killed someone sooner if I knew I was gonna get McDonald's." The girl in question was Claire Miller, a 14-year-old 9th grade girl living with her parents and sister in Manheim Township, Pennsylvania. She made this statement after the police brought her breakfast a few hours after she was accused of stabbing and killing her 19-year-old sister, Helen. Claire, now age 16, used to look after her older sister Helen, who was wheelchair-bound as she had cerebral palsy. Now, given her age and demeanor, you could probably mistake her for your average teenager on TikTok. She was a fairly known person on TikTok, going by the handle @spirits and such consulting. However, her TikTok account was not so average, as it now seems she had a dark side to her content. For example, in one video, she is seen singing along to the song, quote, "Don't Make Me Get Violent" by Carol's Daughter. The song is associated with the idea of wanting to hurt someone because they hurt you. The exact lyrics she sang along to were, "Don't make me get violent, I want my ring back, baby that's a diamond." Her account featured other similarly oriented sounds that you wouldn't think you know anything about. Then you find out this girl became a murderer, and you look back at these sounds and you're like, what did you mean by that? She also made another TikTok using the popular sound, like "I'm dead, you killed me, I am dead now." She also had a decent viewership with these videos, with one in particular getting as many as 1.8 million views. On the fateful night of February 22nd, 2021, Claire is said to have used a kitchen knife to stab her sister. When police arrived at the scene after being called to the home at around 1:08 a.m., they walked into Helen's bedroom to find her covered in a bloodied pillow and a knife lodged in her. On their way in, they had met Claire outside the house, wearing bloody pants and hands covered with blood. She was simply repeatedly saying, "I have stabbed my sister." The saddening part of the whole ordeal is that psychiatrists have suggested that she didn't knowingly engage in the act. Dr. Susan Rushing, her psychiatrist, said she suffered from auditory hallucinations and thus heard voices. On that specific night, she heard a voice telling her to slash her own throat too. While being held in a juvenile detention cell, a township police officer, Martin, testified in court that Claire did not appear upset or sad during the time that he watched her. Her demeanor
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store.
since the killing has been a debatable issue, with other psychiatrists like Dr. John O'Brien saying he couldn't find any consistent demeanor that could be used to diagnose Claire. It's also
No. We're gonna this girl, that's the problem that's the hardest stage of a human, is the adolescent teen. I swear that's the hardest stage. And you parents out there, you parents need to read the room, man. Pick up the clues. If your kid starts wearing all black, if your kid starts putting fucking black makeup under their eyes, they're listening. Something is influencing them to do that. So this doesn't just come out of the blue. Most little girls love bright colors. Most little girls, depending on the household that they are involved in, they love little girl activities, little girl things. They love colors. They love dolls. They love dresses. But if your kid, I don't give a damn, if your kid starts going off the deep end and wearing black chokers and wearing black makeup under their eyes, and they're listening to this horrible music, you need to step in. You need to intervene, because that is what drives it. And I always say this about hip hop music. Myself, I've done rap music. As you can see on my channel, I've done a lot of hip hop music. But at the same time, the things that you put out into the universe to these kids to listen to, they are so easily influenced. They're like a little sponge. Guys, parents, pay attention to your children, man. Do not allow this to happen. This is sad. This is really sad, because this girl was influenced and all she needed was a little bit of guiding light, and she may have been okay. She may have not done what she did. She murdered her sister, and I'm pretty sure music was a big influence on what she did.
It's terrifying that while in juvenile detention, Claire Miller said she Michael Myers'd her sister, which is fucking crazy to say. Jesus, it's like you're making a joke out of it. And the ongoing court proceedings will determine if she will be tried as an adult or as a minor.
That's the internet, man.
Oliver Snow, another TikToker involved in a horrible crime, is the cosplay influencer and OnlyFans model Mary Oliver Snow, aka Yandere Freak, aka Yandere Snow, aka Snow and the Salt Queen. In 2021, Snow, age 23 at the time, who also posted yandere cosplay content on Instagram, was charged with second-degree murder for allegedly drunkenly shooting and killing their friend, Helen Hastings, in the wee hours of January 17th. Snow, who goes by they/them, had about 1.6 million TikTok followers at the time of the incident and was an internet celebrity in the cosplay community due to their performance and mimicry of various Japanese anime characters, especially Junko from Danganronpa. Alright, I don't know if it's Junko or Junko, y'all don't roast me on that because I don't
play that video game.
A Japanese character in a video game where teens are locked in a school and forced to fight a murderous bear to death. How were Snow and the victim Helen related? Well, they were in a tightly knit social circle of cosplayers in Houston where Snow was the central figure, but they had known each other since Hastings was in 10th grade. Hastings, who went by they/them as well, was also fairly influential in the cosplay community in Houston as
Guys, I still don't understand the they/them thing. I don't understand it. I don't understand the pronouns. Guys, 35 years old. I don't understand that shit. I just don't. I know boy, I know girl, man, woman, dog, cat.
They had 120,000 TikTok followers at the time of their death. The two spent a lot of time together, and even on the night they shot Hastings, they were at home watching TV. On that night, Snow pointed a gun at Hastings and shot them. Hastings went on life support for 2 days before eventually passing due to injuries on January 19th. According to the criminal complaint, the defendant stated they had been passing the gun around for hours and had been playing around with it. The defendant said they weren't paying attention hard enough and they might have been too drunk. The defendant said the compliant came up to them and was joking around, telling the defendant, "Ooh, shoot me," as they were laughing, and the defendant said, "Oh, okay," and said it went off, saying they were in shock and that it was supposed to be empty. The defendant said they didn't load it and don't know how it went off. The defendant told their friend to call 911 as they moved the gun away from the complainant. The defendant told their friend to call 911, and the defendant also said that the 911 operator told them to place the gun back in its case. The defendant also stated that they were watching Gotham and said that they were drunk, laughing, messing around, and the gun had never been fired before. Later, Snow got indicted, and according to Texas law, they faced up to 20 years and up to $10,000 in fines for second-degree murder. They've been out on a bond of $20,000. The exact accusations against them included recklessly causing death by pointing a handgun and pulling the trigger. Snow initially claimed that the shooting was an accident, that they were friends playing around with a Glock handgun they believed was empty, but the evidence presented by the prosecution suggested otherwise. For example, Snow posted disturbing content on their social media accounts, including TikTok videos in which they pretended to harm themselves and Instagram posts with captions such as "blood is pretty." Their persona, yandere, is also disturbing as it derives inspiration from the anime meaning, which is a person that sometimes is affectionate and sometimes wants to kill you.
Well, with this situation, she's actually pretty. But with this situation, this was a honest mistake. This was an honest mistake. I don't think she intentionally wanted to murder her friend. This was not a murder plot. This was a friends hanging out with a gun. They didn't realize there was a bullet in the chamber. That's all it is. I don't think she intentionally wanted to get rid of this girl, murder her, kill her. That was not her intention. I can tell. I can tell just based off of the description of what's going on. She didn't have that intention to kill her friend. It was just an honest mistake. And yeah, you still have to pay for that honest mistake. 20 years in prison. I don't think that's justified. I think that's a little harsh because they all were in the situation. They all were drinking, and the girl that got shot said, "Shoot me." When everyone's drunk, and come on, you just can't say things like that. And I personally don't think that she intentionally did that. She didn't want to kill her friend.
Interestingly, Snow's case raised questions about the connection between violent content on social media and real-life violence. Some experts argued that exposure to violent content can desensitize people to violence and make them more likely to engage in violent behavior. This might just explain why Snow simply took a 3-week break from TikTok after the incident and went right back to posting her usual cosplay content. They, however, faced a lot of backlash for the insensitivity, especially after their video singing along to the audio, "Goodness, you're bleeding, what a wonderful feeling, you're down and you're pleading, my..."
Okay, that is bad. You're gonna do that after you've shot your friend and killed her? You're gonna jump on TikTok and do a bloody fucking video about how someone's bleeding and they're pleading and it feels so good? Are you a moron? Looks can kill, but damn, you gotta be stupid. You gotta be stupid to do something like that. Like, I can understand continuing your career with TikTok and cosplay, but doing something with blood and the audio behind it makes you even more guilty. It's not adding up anymore. I tried to stand up for you, girl, but now you're looking bad.
My head is just reeling. So that goes to show, if you post edgy content on social media and, you know, that 0.0001% you accidentally kill someone, it's gonna be used against you. Yeah, I tried to find some 2023 updates on the case, but from my knowledge, he's still out on bail and the court cases are still ongoing. Ali Abulaban. On October 26, 2021, a popular TikToker, Ali Abulaban, shot and killed his wife Anna Abulaban and a man, Rayburn Cardenas Barron, in a twisted case of suspected extramarital affair. This happened at their apartment in Spire, San Diego. Abulaban, aged 29 at the time, was a TikTok star that went by the username @JinKid and had a little over 940,000 followers on the app. His rise to fame was a result of his popular impersonations of the character Tony Montana from Scarface. In the movie, Montana is a powerful drug kingpin in Miami. Ali also did other comedy acts and impressions. So, how did the murder happen? Well, a few days earlier, on October 18th, Ali had been forced out of his 35th floor apartment by his wife and had moved into a nearby hotel. However, he had a secret key and later used it to sneak back into the home and planted a listening device on his 5-year-old daughter's iPad. He had suspected that his wife was cheating on him, hence the listening device, and in the afternoon of October 26, 2021, Ali listened in on the device and he heard his wife and a man, quote, giggling and talking. He rushed to the apartment and just around 3:10 p.m., the police were notified of the shooting. He had gone in and shot at the man, 29-year-old Barron, 3 times before shooting his wife, 28-year-old Anna, once in the head. Both died at the scene. Ali then took off and went to pick up his daughter from school. Afterward, he called his mother to confess killing his wife and then called the police. He was arrested while traveling on the eastbound highway about 45 minutes later with his daughter in the vehicle. The prosecution claims that Ali was motivated by jealousy and a desire to control his wife. He pleaded not guilty to the charges, and his defense team argued that the prosecution's case was based on circumstantial evidence. The defense also argued that Ali's mental state at the time of the killings was impaired by the use of cannabis, which may have affected—
Don't even say that. Don't say that weed made him kill it, because weed doesn't do that. Weed makes you tired, sleepy, hungry. Weed unmotivates everything about you. So that didn't cause it. What caused it is that was his wife, and his wife had another man in their house. And not only that, but you had another man in their house around their child. Men will do a lot when it comes to their women. Let's just be real. And on top of that, you guys are married. So I don't know what religion he stands by. I don't know any of that, stuff. Some religions, they don't play about that shit. Some religions, they will kill you for cheating. It's just, it is what it is. They will off you for cheating. And so I don't know what he practices, but I do know most men, I'm talking about 95% of married men, do not want to see their wife cheating, do not want to see their wife with another man. That will trigger some type of raging bull inside of them, and there's no telling what men will do.
His perception of events. But it didn't work out because there was security footage of him running out of the apartment in a hurry. In addition, San Diego's deputy DA Taryn Brass reported that when Ali picked up his daughter from school, he was still carrying the murder weapon. The judge on the case ordered that he be held in prison. This next incident takes us to Leicestershire, where a terrible road crash led to the 22-year-old TikTok star Maybe Vlogs facing potential jail time for murder. Real name Bahek Bukhari, Maybe Vlogs is a well-known fashion influencer and equally outspoken Palestine supporter in the UK with about 128,000 TikTok followers and about 3.2 million likes. What did she do? Well, alongside her 45-year-old mother and 21-year-old friend, she is accused of having run 2 young men off the road and thus leading to their death. According to the police reports, on February 11th, 2022 at around 1:35 a.m., the 3 women, Maybe, her mom, and a friend, rammed into the vehicle that the young men were in, forcing it off the road on the A46 near the 6 Hills Junction in Leicestershire. They had apparently been in a high-speed chase beforehand. The vehicle that the 2 young men were in was ripped into 2 pieces, killing them instantly. It's suspected that more than 2 vehicles were involved in the crime, and so an additional 2 men have been charged in the case since a gray Audi TT and a blue Seat Leo were captured going at equally high speeds near the collision at the time of the incident. It's not said, but it can be assumed that the girl was racing the other car with the other people that got charged as well. Though I don't know why you would be in a car racing with your mother next to you.
That's the problem with this generation. Why isn't the mother being a mother and saying, girl, you need to slow the fuck down. You need to slow down. We're not going to play this game. We're not going to do this. You're going to slow down and you're going to drive normally. You're not going to ram someone. But see, the problem is your daughter is the bread and butter of your life. Your daughter has now become the mother in the situation. Your daughter has now become the controller of even your thoughts and your actions, because your daughter should not have that much power when you're in the car or when you're in the vicinity. She shouldn't have that much power to control anything. Your words should be bond. You should be able to tell her, okay, you're going to slow this shit down. We're not going to play this game. We're not going to do this racing, all of this shit. This is dangerous. We're not going to do this. But being a fucking boothead, block-faced mother, you allowed your daughter to do something so terrible she took 2 lives in front of your eyes.
Yeah. The case is still ongoing and is expected to be heard in September 2023, although maybe and her accomplices made an appearance in court for a hearing on March 18th, 2023. In an earlier court hearing, a judge asked the trio if they knew they faced the, quote, most serious charge known to criminal law, and they answered yes. A bizarre aspect of this case, which also seems to be a thing with the disturbed TikTok influencers, is that Maybe posted a video almost making light of a similar situation. She made a satirical video in January 2022 in which she pretended to casually tell another person that she, quote, killed someone, and Shawn Mendes' It'll Be Okay played as the TikTok sound. She's also posted other controversial content on her social media accounts. In another recent TikTok posted by Maybe, a flashy car can be seen recklessly swerving around on a road. If you go to her account right now, it's still up and all the comments are disabled. Cameron Hannah.
Yeah.
This is another person we talked about in the darkest TikTok iceberg. By the way, you should watch that if you haven't. This next crime is interesting because the TikTok influencer behind it got even more famous and amassed new fans after it happened. The person of interest here is Cameron Hannah, a TikTok star that was known for illegal street racing and his general love for cars. Aged 18 years old at the time, Hannah got on the wrong side of the law after running over a mother, Jessica Reisinger Rubinal, 24 years old, and
it probably was due to street racing. I've always had a pure hate and rage against street racing because it's so dangerous. You don't realize how many people, how many innocent people you're putting at risk by street racing. If you want to go race, there is so many racetracks that will allow you to legally race on the track. It costs money, yeah, but you're making money on social media. It shouldn't fucking cost that much. It shouldn't cost a life in prison term, you fucking box a block. It shouldn't cost that. It should cost maybe $300-400 to rent the track. I don't know, maybe more than that, maybe less, who knows, but it's legal and it's safe. Doing it on the fucking street, you deserve everything that you get.
Her daughter, who was just 21 months old. The accident happened on Bayshore Boulevard in Tampa, Florida, where Heron raced a friend who was 17 at the time. Heron had just gotten a new Ford Mustang GT as a gift from his parents, and as he was driving, he pulled up next to his friend at a stoplight. When it was their turn to go, they rapidly accelerated, and unfortunately, Heron lost control of his car. He swerved and hit Jessica, who was pushing her baby on a stroller on the waterfront sidewalk. The vehicle's diagnostics after the accident show the Mustang was doing 102 miles per hour before trying to brake. The Bayshore Boulevard zone speed limit was 45 miles an hour. Later on in 2021, Cameron Hannah, age 21, pleaded guilty to vehicular homicide and was sentenced to 24 years in prison. He is serving time at the Graceville Correctional Facility in Florida. His friend Barano, who was in a Nissan Altima, also pled guilty and is serving a 6-year prison sentence.
Man, look at this dude, man. You could tell he went to prison and went straight white supremacy. He went straight white supremacy. I mean, granted, you have no choice. You go to prison, you link up with your race and that's it. But the shaved head, shit, he didn't want to become no one's wife in there. I'll tell you that much.
Heron's brother Tristan, who had been a passenger in the seat of the Mustang, had been charged with racing, but the charges were later dropped. As mentioned earlier, the interesting part of this case is that despite his conviction, Heron gained new fans on TikTok, and together with his existing followers, they started a campaign for his release with hashtag Justice for Cameron. In 2021.
Why does he need to be released?
26 million views, and his name, hashtag Cameron Hannah, had over 1.8 billion views. Many argued that his sentence was too harsh and claimed that he was, quote, too cute to go to jail.
He fucking killed someone. He killed someone. Driving 100 miles an hour and 45 on the city streets. Are you guys crazy? What's up with social media? Are you guys fucking stupid? He killed someone. Did he kill the little girl too? Oh my God. He needs to rot in prison. He needs to rot in prison.
With some terming him as cute, innocent, and brave. Jesus fucking Christ. Also, over 32,000 people signed a change.org petition titled Demand for 24 Years Sentencing Judicial Review of an Unavoidable Traffic Accident, citing reasons, and one of them was the fact that the family of the victim got $6.4 million in compensation. Critics have pointed out that Cameron's actions resulted in the
$6.4 million is not going to change the fact that her life is gone. And calling that an accident or an avoidable accident or unavoidable, that could have been avoided if you weren't racing. I mean, let's be real. If you were driving 45 miles an hour down the street, you wouldn't have crashed, you wouldn't have lost control, you wouldn't have killed that woman. Let's be real, man. Social media is dead to me.
The deaths of 2 innocent people, and his sentence is very appropriate given the severity of the crime. Though there's always going to be those weirdos on the internet that I guess like
fucking
murderers
weirdos,
to this
right?
degree. Whatever. Let's just move on.
I agree.
Jonte Collins and Eric Dodds. How about committing a murder with your partner, then going online to try to defend them, and then both of you end up getting arrested? Well, that was the case for TikTok and OnlyFans couple Jonte Collier and Eric Dodds, both aged 23 years old and living in Huntsville, Alabama as of 2022. The couple's rise to fame on TikTok was fueled by their pro-LGBTQ+ stance, and they had amassed over 800,000 followers. Their account primarily shared mini vlogs and life updates on what they did together. They were arrested and charged with the murder of Dakota Bradshaw in Georgia, which happened on August 1st, 2022. Collier was arrested on August 10th, and Dodds was later arrested on August 16th, 2022. Major Mike Freeman of the Walker County Sheriff's Office said he received reports of the shooting moments before witnesses put the couple at the scene. 417 East Peachtree Street, Rossville, Georgia. Witnesses said they saw a red truck and a blue Dodge Challenger leaving Bradshaw's home just after the shooting happened at around 1:17 p.m. The shooter was said to have gotten into the red truck. Bradshaw was found shot inside his home and later pronounced dead at a local hospital. Collier was arrested first after his home was raided by the police, and shortly after Collier's arrest, Dodds posted a video on their joint TikTok account claiming his partner's innocence. In the video, he says, quote, "No, he hasn't done anything wrong to no one. Y'all know John. John would not harm a soul. He's the most free-spirited, caring person that I know. He loves me even more than I love myself."
We don't know John. We only know what you guys post on social media. That's the thing. Your fan base does not know you personally. They don't know you personally. They don't have those conversations with you two, late at night. They don't know what you guys are thinking about, what you guys are plotting, what you're scheming. They don't know any of that stuff. All we know is, oh, you can dance, you guys are a gay couple, and that's about it. That's about it. We don't know too much more. If you guys have some pretty evil backgrounds, if you have some pretty evil plots, we would never know. We would never know. Granted, we don't want to know, but we would never know.
End quote. He also made a GoFundMe campaign to raise money for his defense. However, just a few days later, Dodds was also arrested in connection with the murder. Collier was initially jailed in Alabama's Madison County before extradition to Walker County Jail. Dodds, on the other hand, was in Limestone County in Alabama and awaits extradition to Walker County Jail in Georgia too. So if they actually did it, we'll have to wait for the trial to continue. Chosen Terell Hannah. Now, this was an interesting case where the dude got caught for robberies because he was wearing the same shoes he wore during the robbery on his TikTok account. They were customs. Let's talk about it. Chosen Terell Hannah, a popular TikTok personality with more than 149,000 followers and a little over 1.6 million likes. He was popular for edgy videos mixed with regular dancing and lip-syncing videos. It was actually one of these videos that led investigators right to his doorstep after they identified his dyed pinkish purple hair and custom white Nike sneakers as resembling those worn by the person that they were looking for concerning a series of robberies. As it turned out, 22-year-old Terell Hannah from Redford Township had robbed stores on 4 different occasions between December 1st, 2021 and February 1st, 2022. These stores included a 7-Eleven, gas station, and a tobacco shop. On December 1st, 2021, at a 7-Eleven store.
Bro, if you're robbing stores, TikTok is just not paying. Why even waste your time doing all these TikToks and becoming so famous on the internet if it's not paying your bills? How long are you going to beat a dead horse? You could drag the fucking horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. Guys, how long are you going to beat a dead horse? If you're doing TikToks 5 times a day for 5 to 7 days a week, You're killing so much time. You might as well go get a 9 to 5. What you should have did instead of robbing those places is ask for a job offer or application, because you obviously needed the money, and I'm pretty sure one of those locations may have been hiring. You fucking stupid ass.
He pulled a gun on a clerk and got away with an unknown amount of cash. On January 13th at a Marathon gas station, he pressed the gun on the clerk's back and took off with the money. Later on January 26th, he robbed the 7-Eleven again. His last robbery was just 6 days after the last, where he robbed a tobacco store and took off with cash and a bunch of cigars. Investigators got a tip from the gas station witnesses that the guy looked like someone they knew on Snapchat. Username given chosen_1. They used this to find his username on TikTok. They specifically identified his Nike shoes with red dots as the same ones worn during the robbery. Also, his hair, it's dyed purple and pink. They also said it was sticking out of the ski mask. With that as evidence, investigators raided his home and found items believed to have been used during the armed robberies. He is being charged with robbery and possessing a firearm during a violent crime, which carries a prison sentence of over 20 years.
Bozo, you're a moron.
Hassan, an Egyptian TikTok star named Haneen Hassam, was arrested and sentenced in 2022 on human trafficking charges. Though this case is controversial, and you'll see why. Hassam at the time was a student and dabbled as a social media influencer, having over 1.3 million followers on TikTok. She was convicted despite her crime being one that sparked the interest of human rights activists. The activists argued that the charges were part of a crackdown on female social media influencers in Egypt, which was, quote, absurd, as these influencers were doing just what other influencers do every day. Hassam, alongside 11 other female social media influencers, was part of a crackdown by Egyptian authorities for making content that, quote, violated the family principles and values upheld by Egyptian society. In her videos, she had been encouraging girls that were over 18 to post videos of themselves on a video sharing platform Likey, where she said they can make money by going live. In one specific video, she told her followers that they could make over $3,000 by doing live broadcasts, but the authorities interpreted this as encouraging illicit online sex. She denied the charges, explaining that,
well, is Likey like OnlyFans, or is it just like a platform that's heavily moderated like TikTok? I mean, I can't really stand on it being elicited for sex unless this is an OnlyFans style live streaming platform. If it's just like a TikTok or a Facebook or something along those, Instagram live, and you can just talk to people that show up in your chat, that's not fucking... What the fuck, guys? What are we talking about?
Quote, I've never said anything bad in my videos. I never said I wanted girls to do inappropriate things to earn money. I said respectable girls could earn money on social media, end quote. She was initially sentenced to 10 years in prison, but after global outrage from activists, her sentence was reduced to 3 years and a fine of $10,740. I'd like to read this tweet from My El Sadani. What does it mean for an Egyptian court to convict TikTok influencers Haneen Hassam and Mawada Al-Adam on human trafficking charges? It means they're criminalizing what influencers globally do every day when they invite others to work with them and monetize TikTok activity. I don't know if she was paid by Likey to promote their service, but it reminds me of when influencers were being paid to move to Triller. Do you guys remember that failed app which people only use to make snippets for songs now? It seems like Likey paid her. Again, this is no confirming, but it just reminded me of the situation, and I'm only connecting it. Maybe Likey probably paid her to promote the service, and then she was like, hey yo, you girls can probably make money over there by going live. It says here she said she was talking about 18-year-old girls, but when we're talking about something that violates the family principles and values upheld by Egyptian society, that being a law, I think there's a lot of stuff that falls under that if the Egyptian, I guess, law just doesn't see eye to eye with you on it, they're gonna take you to jail. But again, I don't want to talk too much about religion, but as of today, yes, she is serving time in prison. Rael Simmons.
That's crazy
Our last
work.
TikToker is Rael Simmons, a fairly influential Minnesota man who decided to impersonate a federal officer to his 10,000 TikTok followers. Aged 53, Rael Simmons from southern Minnesota was sentenced to 6 years in prison for pretending to be a federal officer on TikTok. He made a TikTok profile under the username Ray Reeves and
You're stupid. You're stupid. Were you ex-military or something? Or were you just a fucking big bald-headed milk dud? Which one were you? Because I hope you were ex-military and you just have some PTSD problems going on, and you know that might let you fly under the radar or under the rug. But if you're just an average milk dud, bro, I don't know what to tell you, man. Why would you do that? You know that's a absolute federal felony.
Presented himself as a federal agent to his followers. In the videos, he displayed and wore law enforcement gear, as well as showcased guns and badges despite never being employed by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security or sworn in as a law enforcement officer. His crafty schemes
tell me
seemed
he
to
was in the
thrive as
military
he
at a
gained
point
more
in time.
followers, and only got stopped once a woman he dated tipped the police. After his home was raided, the investigators found a lot of deadly weapons: 8 firearms, a blasting cap, a detonating cord, assault rifles, silencers, and thousands of rounds of ammunition that were mostly unregistered. He also had body armor, badges, emblems, and documents to aid his fake persona. It was
Wait, so that was all fake? Look at this guy's artillery though. Holy shit. That's insane. It's looking like Call of Duty on his wall. Seriously.
also surprising that he had a conviction in Colorado and thus was legally not allowed to possess any of the weaponry found at his home. He was
No
charged with
way.
the impersonation and unlawful possession of firearms. He pleaded guilty to both charges and was sentenced to 6 years in prison and 3 years of supervised release. He got sentenced in 2022, which means he will be out in 2028 for pretending to be a police officer for clout points. That's a new one, guys. I had never heard of that. I've heard of
That's a new
impersonating maybe a U.S. Marine. I'd never heard of fucking impersonating a police officer. This one's definitely gonna fall under things I never thought I would have to research.
Funny because me too. This whole video was things that I thought I would never have to even listen to, but this was a good one, man. A lot of these TikTok stars, I feel bad for a few of them. Some were just straight up just absolutely guilty as charged, but some of them kind of feel like you know, some of them weren't really necessarily needed for the charges that they got, because I don't call them horrible criminals. But yeah, it was pretty good, you guys. Let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you think TikTok is making murderers, criminals, human trafficking? Let me know down below. I would really love to talk about it. Now, YouTube has picked out a video just for you to watch next. Make sure you sit back and enjoy it. Until next time, folks, I will see you in the next one.